Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. My name's Doug Huntington, and in this episode, I'm chatting with Isaac Maier, who purchased a site in July of 2021, and it was making about $300 per month at that time, and now it's earning about $500 per month. And we're going to get into the details, but I think generally it's been through a lot of optimization and fixing things up versus adding new content, at least to this point. So we'll dig into a few other details. And Isaac is a bit of a digital nomad, has some cool other side stories that I'd love to get into as well. So Isaac, how's it going today?
It's going good. Thanks for having me on the show, Doug. I'm really excited to talk. I watch your content and have found great success with it. So really excited to help bring the community up in another one of your videos.
Awesome. And we were introduced through my friend, and I think perhaps your boss, Jesse Lakes. So yeah, he's your boss, maybe friend as well, but it's blurry lines at that point. So, but we do like Jesse in either case. So just tell me real quick how you got hooked up with the Genius Link team, because you're one of the team members there, right?
Yeah, so I'm a senior client success specialist. I'm moving more into a business development role soon. It's a funny story how I met them. So I did this study abroad program in entrepreneurship in Milan, Italy, found out that I loved entrepreneurship and decided to get into an entrepreneurship certificate program in which one of the classes I met a guy named Mario Schultzky, who was doing a project with Genius Link called Link Explorer. And in that grad level class, ended up working with Genius Link on that project. Loved it. Came on as an intern. Loved the internship. Loved the value that Genius Link was adding to the community and the opportunities there. Came on full time. And since then, I've been growing in my role and moving into new areas and finding more value. But yeah, Genius Link's been fantastic, both as in my life professionally, and then also for helping me grow my affiliate site.
I like that a lot because I started working in like a sort of a big company where you get lost in the weeds and it feels like you're not making a difference at all. And I suspect on a smaller, tighter team where it's really entrepreneurship focused, I believe you probably were responsible for things and felt like you were making a difference. Am I accurate in that?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Just within like my first year or two working there, I was doing projects with YouTubers such as Jevin Dovey on his 500,000 subscriber special with Kit. And I've got to work with these, fantastic people, big players in the industry, companies and creators alike. So it's been a great experience so far and will continue being great.
Perfect. And one quick side tangent. So I did go to the big company and felt like I wasn't making a difference. But then later in my career, I realized you could slip through the cracks and just do kind of I wouldn't say a bad job, but I wouldn't have to try as hard just because it's a big company. So there's a double-edged sword, and it felt like I wasn't making a difference. And I wasn't. And then later on, I was like, well, I'm not making a difference. I could just slack off. But don't do that if you're ambitious, by the way. So just side note for people that are stuck in the corporate world, but not you, Isaac. You're working at a great place and it sounds like you're doing cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having that magnifying glass on you from being in a small team definitely helps with the learning process. So yeah, very good. I agree with you. Totally.
Okay. So let's just start getting into the details here, and then we'll talk about some of the digital nomad stuff that you're getting into. And it sounds like potentially a move that you're going to embark on very soon. So First off, you were starting to become a lot more aware of the affiliate marketing world, and you were thinking, hey, I'm going to buy a site. So can you take us through the thought process, and then we'll start, knocking each one of these steps down. So initially, what were you thinking versus, I guess, like starting a new site versus like buying one like you ended up doing?
Totally. Yeah. So working with clients at Genius Link, I talked to so many different people who owned their own websites, portfolios of websites, and started having these conversations about how they're building their passive income and building wealth, and also, potentially quitting their jobs to work on affiliate sites and getting that freedom. And that sounded really cool. And I was having these conversations with these people and thought to myself, well, hey, if they can do it, why can't I? And when I was looking at, building a site versus buying one, I realized that all these conversations that I was having with these, creators and influencers, website owners, left me much better suited to acquire and optimize a site than to build one up from the beginning. So that's kind of where I came out from that.
Did you happen to listen to the very recent interview with Adam Smith? It just published a couple days ago. Just curious if you listened to his show.
Not that one.
Okay.
No, but I should.
Yeah. So I've interviewed him a few times, but he basically hasn't started any site from scratch, as far as I understand. And he's just purchased them, starting at sort of a smaller size and then slowly like leveled up. In the most recent interview, he bought a site for $60K. And then through essentially some of the similar things that you are looking at, optimizing the traffic that is already there and improving conversion, stuff like that, he was able to basically double the revenue. So
that's awesome.
Worth it for everyone to check out. Okay, so you're thinking, hey, I'm going to buy a site, and let's talk about selecting where you're going to buy the site from. So there's many options. You have maybe FE International, Flippa, Empire Flippers, maybe Facebook groups. There's a lot of different places you can actually make a purchase. So how did you figure that out?
Yeah, so that was, I guess that first couple months was looking at sites and then looking at those brokers and seeing what I really liked. I checked out Empire Flippers, Flippa, this site called Motion Invest. And while they all had pros and cons, I ended up loving this site called Motion Invest. I found that the due diligence that they did for, seeing backlinks, traffic, affiliate revenue, and potential scaling opportunities were the best with Motion Invest. The other ones are great too, but really liked Motion Invest. And once I found out that I loved them, it was just a matter of opening them up every morning and night to try to find a site that I loved, because the sites would go so quickly, within a matter of hours sometimes. So I really wanted to make sure they got one that I liked.
And I think each of the brokers kind of caters to a different level. So I know Empire Flippers, now they're much more mature. And I think like the cheapest sites are tens of thousands of dollars, maybe 25,000 is maybe the cheapest.
Yeah.
And I bet they go super quick since it's a lower price. And Motion Invest is kind of on the lower end of the market from a price perspective, although there's quite a range. Can you talk about the range that you might see at Motion Invest?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So yeah, like you said, Empire Flippers, around 25K at the lowest is what I saw. And I wasn't trying to spend that much on my first site. Whereas Motion Invest, I think the lowest, maybe in like the high hundreds, maybe 1,000 at the absolute lowest, if you want just a really small site. And they do have those sites for sale that are, maybe $100,000. I ended up buying my site for around 10, a little over 10. And I thought that would be a really good entry point.
Okay. Perfect. And you actually documented some stuff over on the Genius Link blog. So we'll link up to that. And you actually mentioned the site there. So from a marketing standpoint, we won't mention the site, but if you want to find out what it is, go over to the Genius Link blog and you can check out some of the other details. So you kept looking for a little while. So how long did it take? Did you have a few different niches that you were thinking of, or you just thought, hey, when I see the right one, I'll know it?
That's a fantastic question. So what I've always thought is I wanted to handle a site that was within my passions. And I have a few different passions, whether it's martial arts, music, entrepreneurship. But when I was looking, I was just waiting for something to fall into my lap that was with one of these passions and had some really great scaling opportunities. So when I found Ask Sound, it was completely music focused, with reviews of musical instruments, headphones, speakers. I've been playing guitar for a little while now and just absolutely love it. And I saw some wonderful scaling opportunities there as well, since I'm into singing local music, potentially interviewing musicians. And the site had really good traffic. And yeah, so I thought something I'm passionate about has scaling opportunity. This seems like a perfect fit.
You mentioned Motion Invest doing a good job with the due diligence. What are some of the things that they analyze for you, or things that you saw that you liked?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love that they had a keyword analysis. So the site ranked for around 700 keywords, which I thought was fantastic. They had commission history, so both from Ezoic and from Amazon Associates. So I could see what revenue was being made from the site every month. And I think it was back around a year. That was fantastic. And then, yeah, I mean, a few other things. Those are probably the main things, though. And the Motion Invest team just goes and looks at all those sites and asks questions to the owner. And then there's a guarantee, which I really loved. So once you start the acquisition process, they don't release any funds to the previous owner of the site until the new owner gives the go ahead. So that just ensures that, I get all those passwords and all those resources that I need. And also it gives you a great chance to ask all those clarifying questions as well.
Okay. And then was there any like direct transition from the previous owner where they talked you through everything, or was it just a kind of a colder handoff with passwords and all the information?
Yeah, so Motion Invest actually set me up with a representative. So first in the sales process, I had a representative that I talked to that I could ask any questions. And then they set me up with a representative to hand everything off. So they handle all the passwords. If there was a password to something that I didn't have, like let's say the WordPress, then I just got that. When it came time to transfer the domain and all the hosting, they helped me with that. And that was around probably like a 3-4 day process of back and forth. I wanted to be very thorough and make sure I had everything. But they were fantastic with helping hand that off.
Okay. And then you said you paid around $10K, was making 300. So you paid like a 33 multiple roughly.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. And we didn't have calculators. We did that math in our head.
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's kind of right in the average or kind of the lower end, but a couple things that you noted that I'll just highlight is they had a lot of historical data. So you felt pretty comfortable because the earnings were either stable or growing, probably stable is my guess.
Yeah.
And did the previous owner mention why they wanted to sell it? Is that something that you asked or that you were made aware of in any capacity?
Yeah, they had like a frequently asked questions section at the bottom talking about scaling opportunities, why they were selling it. They didn't want to continue spending time on it and were ready to sell it and kind of move on to their next adventure, is what it seemed like.
All right. So how many articles were on it when you purchased it?
So there's 154, I believe.
And do you happen to know the breakdown of informational versus the product reviews?
I believe they're primarily product reviews. As I've been looking through the articles, and I've looked at most of them, the vast majority of them are product reviews with product links. Or, if they're not directly a product review, they'll be like, oh, what type of headphones does Markiplier use? And then they'll still have that product link and talk about that product. Although for the future, I'm potentially looking at getting more reviews of music, of artists, of shows, stuff like that.
Okay. And then anything else that I forgot to ask about the website or anything sort of coming in, maybe related to the content or anything else?
I don't think so on that end, but just like many of your viewers do, and we've seen plenty of times, I am going to Upwork to get those new articles and continue growing there.
Okay, cool. So now let's move into sort of the optimization phase. So it sounds like, you're sort of new to the affiliate marketing area, even though you've been in the world for a bit. It's the first maybe hands-on experience. Is that accurate?
Yeah, this is the first time that I'm really getting my skin in the game. I'm putting that money out there. I own this affiliate site. I'm doing it myself rather than helping people optimize their existing projects. Yeah.
So perfect transition. How did you identify this site as one where you could bring some value? So it sounds like maybe, you can add some different content that you could earn from, but we're going to start getting into the optimization and things that you've done to increase the revenue by a pretty significant amount percentage wise. So how did you know? Was there something you saw and you're like, oh, we could fix those things up and then I'll just send it over to you for these?
Yeah, one of the most exciting things to see with this website was that it had 45% international traffic. And with the history that I have from Genius Link, I know that if you're only optimizing your current country's traffic, for Ask Sound, it was the US, then you're missing out on a big chunk of money from that, in Ask Sound's case, 45%. So I recognized that 45% of the traffic wasn't being optimized from an affiliate side of things. And just by simply installing the Genius Link plugin, it's called the Amazon Link Engine, I was able to instantly monetize that traffic, after getting that Amazon Associates data into the Genius Link dashboard, which is super easy.
All right. And do you know why the previous owner didn't monetize internationally?
Yeah, I think there's just a lack of awareness in a lot of cases that Amazon is split up into so many different storefronts. And when you only sign up for one storefront, you're only collecting commissions from that storefront. So it could have been a lack of awareness. It could have been lack of awareness that there was a tool to help out with that. As I saw with Ask Sound, and I've seen with plenty of other sites, and I hope other people find the same success, a lot of people aren't capitalizing on that international traffic. Okay. And it leaves a great opportunity to be taken right off the table very easily and quickly right after acquiring the site.
Okay. And I know a lot of listeners and viewers out there are thinking, oh, how could people not know that they can do that? But if you're in the world, if you're in it for a few years, sure, you internalize all these different things that you take as common knowledge. But a lot of people, like you said, Isaac, they just don't know, even though people are probably thinking that's insane. How could they not run across that? But it's totally true. Okay. Yeah. So
easy to miss.
So you saw that, and then did you see anything else that made you think, hey, I can do a little bit better than what they're doing already?
That was the biggest thing. I also saw that while the articles were very high quality, and you could tell that the person who was writing these articles was very passionate and, really put their heart into it and loved music, which really touched me. There are plenty of elements of the site that could be improved. When I just look at the design, the theme, like, it looks fine for now, but I see a lot of really great optimizations that I can make there. So when I do start reaching out to musicians, I can say, well, here's this amazing site. We're getting, now close to 20,000 views a month. That's growing. We'd love to do an interview with you. So it seems like there's some really great opportunities to make things look better, increase site speed, do a few more things so that I can start having those higher profile conversations with both brands, creators, and musicians.
On the product review front, did you do any other optimization, maybe like add tables or go through and take out the products that are out of stock, or maybe they're totally discontinued? Anything else on the product front?
So on that side of things, I didn't change much. Luckily, Genius Link has this awesome tool called the Amazon Link Health Monitor that tells me when products go out of stock. So I've been keeping an eye on that, but things typically tend to come back into stock. That's one of the great things about the niche that I'm in, is that the products, like especially speakers and headphones, will typically come right back into stock. That also is kind of a double-edged sword, though, because as those products age out and new products come out, then those articles aren't going to be worth as much when people aren't using that old content. But other than product links, I've started using choice pages on my site, which is another service from Genius Link, which is once again a great opportunity to optimize. And choice pages offer customers an option of where to buy the product. So for instance, I just added choice pages to a JBL Studio 530 review. And I've noticed that people have started clicking on Newegg because Amazon, while they offer a lot of wonderful products, isn't always, people's first choice. And that's another potential great way to increase commissions. And I'm just getting started with that and excited to grow that in the future.
Awesome. Yeah. And that fits in with, Google mentioned that they want to give consumers other choices aside from, they didn't say Amazon specifically, but they just want to have like other options on there, and choice pages are a way to do it for sure. And I always give Jesse a hard time when he's on the show and I say, hey, come on, there's other ways to do that too. And Isaac, you're a company man, so I can't blame you for talking about Genius Link, but you could set this up on your own in a manual way on your page and just say,
totally.
I mean, you can go to like the Wirecutter, for example, or any of the big sites, and you could see they just have different buttons go to different places, but you obviously get some advantages using the Genius Link choice pages and the format and the way those are all set up. It's optimized in maybe a better way than you might be able to do off the bat on your own. So, okay, cool. Now moving on to the Ezoic side. So the site was already monetized with Ezoic, which is cool. Right. And we'll go ahead and treat this as, Ezoic is one of the sponsors of the Doug.Show. So we'll treat this as the ad. I love Ezoic. I'm using them. So Isaac, how did the experience go with Ezoic? Was it easy transitioning? And then what have you done to increase the revenue there?
Yeah, Ezoic's been fantastic. From when I first started with them and I was talking with one of their reps, just taking me through the startup process and getting everything back up and running. They made it really easy and held my hand through a lot of it. Starting off, it was just getting ads back on the site. Now I've been accepted to Zoic Premium. I'm in their Level Up program. I just got to Level 2, which you have to be at least $200 a month and 20,000 visits a month for 1 month on a Zoic to get to. And that's exciting. So now I'm using those premium advertisers, those big names on the site, which is good for the credibility of the site, but is also boosting commissions. Now, when I look at my Zoic dashboard, I can see that I'm earning an extra $2-3 a day through Zoic, and sometimes as much as 4 or 5. It's been kind of varying lately, but typically at least a few extra bucks every day, which is fantastic. And then when it comes to site speed, making sure that the site is reliable and quick has helped me for search engine optimization as well, which I think has helped contribute to additional traffic. And then when it comes to like weekly webinars, I watched one of them that talked about how to optimize old content. Since I was acquiring the site and it had around 150 old articles, finding which articles are actually driving traffic and which ones aren't, but could be, was a really interesting process that they taught me how to do. And I was able to find some old articles like that JBL Studio 530 article that I was able to get from, I think it was on the 3rd or 4th page of Google, and get it to that first page. And now it's getting more clicks. So they really do want what's best for you, and they're going to help you do that. Now I have a dedicated rep now that I'm at level 2, which is really fantastic to see. So very excited to continue working with them, and I've already found so much great success.
With the premium, some people are hesitant to sign up because you have to pay up front. So
Yes.
Did you have any hesitation, and what gave you the confidence to go ahead and move forward with it?
Yeah, I think with anything, I like to do my research beforehand. So I looked into a lot of articles, a lot of outside sources. While I was talking to someone at Zoic who was saying, oh, you pay $44 a month and it's basically free money on the table, I wanted to check it out for myself. And what I found pretty reliably is that if you do buy into that premium service, which they have to come to you for it, you can't even just buy into it, it is going to boost your commissions. And if it doesn't, you stop using it. They essentially take you down to a lower level so that essentially no matter what, I can't say 100%, but essentially you're going to be making that additional revenue and earning more rather than less in just about every scenario. And it was very easy to set up as well.
Cool. And then were there any tweaks on the Zoic side at all, other than, you sent it for premium, so potentially you earn more from the ads because there's bigger companies, better ads showing on your site. Anything else, any other tweaks?
Yeah, I've made use of their caching program. So it just helps with site speed and helps things load faster. There's some other optimizations to be made there as well. I'm also doing mediation with Google AdWords. So by having that, if you think of the ad space on your site as, real estate, there's these different companies, whether it's Google or Zoic or, these premium advertisers kind of fighting for that space and bidding on it. So by adding another player to that game through mediation, it just raises the general revenue that you're getting every day because people have to pay more to beat out those other ad services. So that's been good. I've been talking with my rep, and they've been saying that, if I were to change a theme on my site, which I am likely going to do, I can put some new ads in sidebars. And I've always believed in having a smooth experience that's not too cluttered up with ads. I think we've all been to those recipes where you're trying to make some salmon or something, and there's pop-ups everywhere. And I'm not a huge fan of that. And I like how Zoic gives you the control to add as many site ads as you want without being too much or too little. I really like that balance and the control that I have there.
All right. I think I want to move on to the content area. Is there anything else with the monetization that I didn't ask that we should talk about?
I think that's pretty good for now. Yeah.
Have you added much content? Have you improved much of the content at this point?
So I've done a little bit of work with SEO on old articles, not too many. I've gotten those from lower in Google search results to the first page, and that's been fantastic. But I haven't created any brand new content yet. And that's what I'm really looking into right now with Upwork and hiring these writers. I was actually just watching one of your interviews with Christy where she talked about front loading those projects so you can have, maybe 10, 15 people write articles for you, see who you like, and then move forward working with those people in the future. And I think I'm going to take a very similar approach. I really liked how that worked for her.
And it's nice, like once you have the team set up and everyone's working together and everyone's trained, you could just like give them more keywords and then it just works. Where if you were to, I mean, sometimes you do need to throttle it down, but if you break up the whole team, if you break up the band, then it's really hard to get the same people together, maybe even impossible. And then you kind of have to start again and get those communication channels back up and retrain the new people at that point. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very, very smart way to do it. All right. And then just to confirm, like you didn't go and have you added any FAQs to some of the articles yet?
No, I haven't yet. But I was looking at some of the guides that you've talked about for improving affiliate reviews or just product reviews and templates for that. And I'm definitely thinking about doing stuff like that in the future. And we'll be making great use of those templates.
I think unsolicited advice, I would say one thing you could do is maybe hire some of the writers to just go back and add FAQs. You could even do it as like test gigs because they don't have to be as competent to go look up some FAQs, add them to a post. It's only, you're adding maybe 3 to 5 questions or something like that. And it could pull in long tail traffic fairly easily, I would say. And it may give you more opportunities to like internally link as well, depending on how it's all structured. But that could be a good way to do it. FAQs are a great way to go back, especially a site like this where you haven't added any new content, but there's a bunch of content that probably can use a little refresh, a little touch.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I'll definitely make use of that.
Okay, cool. One thing I didn't ask about before, but we'll get into is links. So when you bought the site, had any link building been done? What was the shape overall of the site from a backlink perspective? Yeah,
so one of the great things about Motion Invest is they had a whole backlink analysis as well. And I forget the specific numbers, but the previous owners of the site had already invested in backlinks and run campaigns to get a good amount of backlinks. While I've been running the site, I've written blog articles. You can check out my blog article on GeniusLink about my whole process of acquiring the site, and that includes some backlinks. And I've found some backlinks here or there, just kind of like with that blog and linking on other areas. But that's not something that I've, fully invested in quite yet, but it's definitely something that I'm looking for in the near future.
Okay, cool. And with, I guess, jumping back to the content, so you want to add more, and I'm curious how you're going about the keyword research. Have you hit that phase yet, or how will you treat it?
Yeah, so I think there's the way that I've been doing it, and there's the way that I'm going to continue doing it. And the way that I started doing it was using, I believe it's Google Keyword Research. And based off one of those videos that I viewed with Zoic, they showed how you can see how much competition and how much traffic is going to certain keywords using that service. And while it's not as easy to use as something like SEMrush, who like presents the data right to you, you can see which articles on your site are ranking for certain keywords, how valuable those keywords are, and then push in those areas, which I've done with some of that SEO. I've also been viewing a lot of your content, Doug, which has been fantastic, and talking about that golden keyword ratio and that long tail. And when I'm thinking about how I'm going to get these new writers to start writing new articles, I'm leaning towards that because I've seen the success that other people have had with that, and that looks fantastic.
Cool. So yeah, the keyword golden ratio should work pretty well. And another one to take a look at, throw in the mix, is a different kind of analysis. Although you probably need access to a few different tools, but it's the Tomb Raider by the Niche website. Guys, are you familiar with the Tomb Raider idea?
No, that sounds interesting though. I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
I don't love the name because it's like you hear it and you're not really sure like what it is, but
Or
it's
prop or something. Yeah.
decent concept. It's a very good concept. So basically, it takes all the metrics from various different SEO tools like Majestic, Ahrefs, and Moz, and then it looks at the URL rating, the domain rating, the domain authority, the trust flow, and all the few different metrics, and you basically map out your competitors, and then you'll get each one of the SEO metrics for each one of the sites, and then you sum them up, and then you rank them. So you end up with, you kind of smooth out the variations between the tools, because Ahrefs and Moz and Majestic will have pretty drastically different metrics sometimes. So if you sum it up, you end up with some value. And the idea is if they have, a specific site has a higher sum of metrics than others, then you may be able to find some keywords on specifically on the sites that have a lower sum than your site, because they are ranking and they have conceivably less metrics than you do. So that's the general idea. But essentially, it's looking at all your competitors and then picking the ones that have like lower metrics than you that are ranking. And then you have, of course, a bunch of keywords to look at if you are using one of the more sophisticated tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs.
Sure. Okay. Well, that sounds fantastic. And yeah, always looking for new opportunities to, grow more strategically. So I'll definitely have to look into that further as well. So thank you.
Awesome. All right, cool. So anything else with the site? It sounds like it's kind of on a nice trajectory from an earnings perspective. It sounds like traffic has been relatively stable aside from some seasonal changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's been fantastic to see how much the site has grown without adding any new content. And by capitalizing on those opportunities, like I said, with Genius Link and Ezoic, I've been able to see some great success. So seeing the revenue raise from, around 290, 300, closer to like 500 every month has been awesome. In terms of traffic, improving that site speed and reliability, that stuff with Ezoic, and also admittedly probably some seasonality as well. Seeing that traffic go from around 15,000 to around 20,000 a month has been fantastic. And it seems like that's holding relatively stable even now that we're in March. So hopefully that traffic is just growing, and some of that, SEO work that I've done and site speed work that I've done is growing the site. So it makes me really excited to really start building things out, adding new and fresh content to the site and really building out the ecosystem. It's exciting stuff.
And I'll just point out for everyone. So you bought the site for about 10,000 and you did a few things. Several months went by. Basically, you probably could sell it for 50% more than you bought it for at a minimum, potentially more because there's more historical data and it's kind of on an upward trajectory. So just from a website flip standpoint, you bought it, you did some stuff, you could flip it again. Certainly there's some transaction cost, just like regular real estate. So you have to consider that. But this is a route that people can take where you slowly level up, you buy another site, maybe you buy a couple sites instead, and then you can kind of do the same thing. And as you get more skills, you are able to either grow the site even more or feel more confident to maybe buy a site that's 25K instead of 10K and then grow that and just keep leveling up. You came in to the casino with, X amount and you're playing with house money now. It's a dangerous analogy, but
yeah.
So, okay, cool. Anything else with the site? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. And just to comment on that, that's pretty much what I'm doing. So I was thinking, if I can increase the commissions just with a few things pretty quickly, if I want to, I can flip the site. And, I plan on owning the site for a while and growing it. But, I look at this from an investment perspective, especially since inflation, is going crazy right now. And who knows where that's going. Making this investment and taking, some of that money and putting it into a site and building that source of passive income and wealth is not only a great opportunity to learn, but it's also a great opportunity to create that passive income and wealth. And potentially flip things. So for me, I saw that opportunity to capitalize on, some information that wasn't being utilized, which is using Genius Link, using Ezoic to boost that commission. And like you said, Doug, now I can flip the site and keep working on it. And I'm playing kind of with that house money a little bit more, like you said.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's change gears a little bit and talk about the time freedom that you have. And it sounds like you went on some adventures. Can you tell me about that? I don't even know exactly what to ask, but I'll just turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. So, I'm what a lot of people would call a digital nomad. So I've been working for Genius Link for a while. I believe in my third year. Yeah, third year now. I was originally an intern and then kind of have been rising through the ranks. With the pandemic and remote work, I was thinking to myself, why not travel? Why not go explore Europe, Asia, all those other countries weren't so easy to get into. Something that I'd really wanted to do was van life. So I decided to get a van. I got a Ford Econoline, and for just the past 7 months, I just finished the trip. I traveled around the country, working on my website, working with Genius Link, and I was able to make that work and have a great time doing so. So that's another really great thing about getting a site like this, is that you can work on it from wherever you want as long as you have that internet connection. There's a day where I worked from Old Faithful in Yellowstone. They actually have pretty good internet out there, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you don't have to choose either travel or work. You can do both and find success.
That's funny. Some of my favorite memories, like just sitting around, was at Old Faithful, and you probably sat around some too, but people rush around. They're like trying to get in, see Old Faithful erupt, and then get the fuck out. And I brought like a like a camp chair, had my dog, brought a cooler of beer, and just like sat out there for a couple hours, saw it erupt 3-4 times. And it was so leisurely, and everyone's rushing around. It seems crazy in a national park.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I was just working there on my computer and would watch it go up every so often. And yeah, it's great people watching, but also just really cool to just sit there and work or just hang out. It's fantastic. And, our country is so beautiful. So yeah, really great to see that. Yeah. And that sounds like a really cool experience that you had as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun. I mean, it's one of the more touristy areas it's a very big park, but one of the more touristy areas of the park. And they have this great porch in the Old Faithful Inn. Did you ever sit up there on that second floor porch there?
I think I've been up there, but I was primarily hanging out in that viewing area that was pretty close to the geyser.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, it's pretty chill as long as you're not making a big, ruckus or anything. Like I said, I had a cooler of beer. So like, yeah, you could just grab a beer. Like I would have my family up there and we'd bring a picnic of, lunch or whatever, have some beer, sit up there. It was very fun. So, okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Everybody get out there to the national parks. Okay.
Definitely.
The Econoline, those are the smaller like vans, right? It
was 18, 19 feet long.
Okay. So those are the bigger. How tall is it? Could you stand up in there?
Oh yeah, I could stand up. So we had a high top, and yeah, I think it's a little over 9 feet. So you can't exactly go through like the McDonald's drive-through. You'd have to kind of like drive around the drive-through, but it was plenty tall for me to stand up, and had an accordion style queen size bed that I could fold out, and good room for working, and typically work from coffee shops though. Okay.
And did you build it out, or did it already have some stuff in there or whatever?
So I got it pre-built. Yeah. Okay. It had benches and a table, little cupboard area, relatively basic build, but if I were to do it again, I'd love to build it out myself. And I did some minor alterations. I did some work on the engine, like just changing out belts and a few minor things like that. And then did some sanding on the interior, some cleaning up like that, adding some trim, but primarily all the big stuff was already done.
All right. And so you bought it used, and then you drove it for 7 months, and then it sounds like you're not doing the van life anymore. So did you sell it after that?
I'm in the process of selling it right now. Yeah.
Okay. This is great. So did you knew you were probably going to sell it. So how much, if you could tell us, right, how much did you buy it for? And then how much are you going to sell it for?
Yeah, so bought it. I believe it was 8,500, and that was around 7 months ago. And a lot has changed since then. So when I'm looking at selling it, I've done a decent amount of work to it. It looks nicer than it did originally. Got some cool systems set up for storage. I definitely want to get over 10K. I'd love to do like 12, 13. We'll see. It's a cool thing to have. It's not killing me to have it, so not in a huge rush to sell it. And it's very much a seller's market, and so many people are wanting to get out there and do this nomadic lifestyle. So I know it's going to be in high demand. And it's getting warmer, so the list just keeps going. So I'm anticipating that I'll be able to sell it for a decent amount more than I bought it for. Still looking into that, but ideally, it will end up having been a pretty good investment.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, the market is weird and the world is weird right now. So
Indeed.
I wouldn't be surprised. How many miles are on it?
130, I want to say 130,000.
That's not even that bad. I thought you were going to say like 240 and it needs a new transmission or something. So that's crazy, man. Yeah, I bet you can get a pretty good amount for it, especially that size. I know around here a lot of people, are looking, and it is they could be super expensive, especially like a brand new fancy one that's all built out. I mean, you're talking like 50, 70K, like it's like a house.
Yeah. Mine's a little older. It's from the 80s, back from 1984. So it's a little stylized, but it's running great now. And if you're looking for a van, hit me up.
Yeah. It'll be funny if you sell it through this interview here. So
that would be funny. Yeah, that'd be a great story if you buy the van. So all the viewers.
That's right. Yeah. I got to sell an old laptop too. So if anybody wants to really kick on the digital nomad life, I built my business from it.
There we go. You'll have the whole setup.
All right. So what's next for you? You were telling me before we got started that you got a new adventure coming up.
Yeah. So just in the past month, I've been traveling around without the van. I'm moving up in Genius Link, moving into business development role. So did some onboarding out in Missoula. Now I'm back in California, in the Bay Area. And this Friday, I'm going to be moving out to Oahu in Hawaii. I got a one-way ticket and an Airbnb. I was able to negotiate a solid price on that. So I'm going to be out there for at least 35 days. And it's a one-way ticket, so if I like it, I'll just stay out there for a little while. But yeah, once again, it's another one of those things where if it's possible and I want to do it, and I have the ability to, I'm just going to go and get out there and make it happen. So yeah, I'm leaving this Friday at 8:50. My flight is, and really excited to just go out there and enjoy Hawaii and work on my site and work in my regular job at Genius Link. I have a private room with good internet, and it's nice and quiet, and just gonna hang out and go play guitar on the beach and work on my music site and work and see what life has to offer.
Very cool. You got to pick up the ukulele.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Play like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, get out there. And yeah, I think that could be fantastic. And I'm anticipating that it'll be a really good time. Van life was awesome. I loved van life. There's some challenges, it's those really basic things, just like having a shower or getting food or finding Wi-Fi. I used a mobile hotspot on my phone a decent amount, but a lot of those things that you take for granted, like washing clothes or using the bathroom, those are the challenges of van life when you have all that freedom. So now that I'm going to be in a room with, air conditioning and internet and a mini fridge and, all those wonderful luxuries of life, I'm anticipating that'll be really nice.
A little bit easier. Yeah. I interviewed some of my friends. They blog at Trip of a Lifestyle, but they traveled for 7 months and visited every national park, even the ones in Alaska that you have to get a plane to and stuff. I think it was a little much for the amount of time that they did.
Sounds like a lot, honestly. Yeah.
But yeah, they talked about some of the challenges that you mentioned, and they found that I think it's Planet Fitness is a great.
Yes.
Is that what you did for showers and
yes.
the gym? Okay.
This is now an ad for Planet Fitness. Love Planet Fitness. Yeah, that's where I showered and would also work out there. And they have cool little massage chairs. It's all around $20-$30 a month. So there's the Planet Fitness ad. But if you're looking to do something like that, that is most definitely the move.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, any other tips on travel or your website or anything like that?
I mean, I think the main thing is just that this sort of thing is possible. Like, I never would have thought that I would be traveling and owning my own website and doing all these cool things. And I think the best way to do it is to just get out there and start doing it and doing the research. I don't think I have any unique abilities that anyone else doesn't possess. This is all stuff that if you do the research and you watch awesome content like Doug's, you can find these same successes. And if you put in the time and the effort and you have the capital, you can do it too. And I'm honestly just doing the research and figuring it out as I go and finding this great success. So it's never too early to start. Get out there and go do it because you can make it possible, just like all these other people are. There's no reason that you can't.
That's a great point. And I see it a lot with especially pretty intelligent people or people smarter than me. At least I don't know how smart you are, Isaac, but sometimes people get in their head a little too much and they think, I got to research a little bit more. And you should research some, but some people are in a loop. They're stuck in a loop doing analysis and doing more research, and they're afraid they're going to make a mistake. And hey, guess what? You're going to make a fucking mistake. Like,
most definitely.
You're going to do it. And actually, that's one thing I forgot to ask you. Any blunders along the way? I mean, it's only been a few months, so you may have not made any major mistakes, and there's a lot of people you could ask.
I think I've been very diligent with my research. So I haven't found myself making any mistakes yet, like any big blunders. Other than back before I got with a Zoic, the site went down for a day, and I didn't recognize that happened because I didn't check it out that day. And when it went down for a day, and I didn't get it back up, it caused traffic to drop a little, and that wasn't fantastic. So now I've made a point of checking out the site every day and hopefully building out some automation, like some way to just have that, like a check happen every day. But I would say the only mistake that I've made so far is not doing more, I guess. Like, it seems like when you work on something like your own niche site, and especially if you do it strategically, like I've been doing, once again, thanks to people like Doug, the effort that you put in generates so much value so quickly, and especially like long term. Like, for instance, signing up for a Zoic Premium, if that's adding extra $2-3 every day, the earlier you do that, the better. So I would say the only mistake that I've made really is not doing more, and that, to call that a mistake might be a little reach, but I think the more time that you invest, the better, especially early on.
Nice. Yeah, I think I can't remember where I saw a quote, but it's essentially a mistake of inaction. And that's probably what a lot of people get stuck in. And hey, sometimes you're busy. I mean, you're going out, living in a van and stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, you can't do everything all the time. You're probably doing something fun instead.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, where can people follow along with you, Isaac?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter, Isaac the Maier, ISAACTHEMAYOR. Feel free to follow me there. If you DM me, I'll be glad to answer any of your questions. Also, you can continue to check out my journey with Ask Sound on the Genius Link blog. I'm going to continue posting updates. You can read my first article about acquiring and optimizing the site. I'm going to come out with another one talking about building the site further. Those are probably the two best places to keep up with me. So
perfect.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm always glad to chat. None of this stuff is a secret. I think by helping the community and giving as many resources as we can, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Doug, we all find success together. So really very open to talking to anyone and helping out any way I can.
Awesome. We'll put links so people could find the post over at Genius Link and then your Twitter handle as well. So thanks a lot, man. Looking forward to catching up with you and hearing how it's going in the future.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I had a great time, learned a lot, and hopefully this was very valuable for the viewers as well.